Boxing truth here. Eddie Hearn is trying to get 4 titles on the line for a possible Anthony Joshua-Vladimir Klitschko fight. An interesting turn of events, as this is very possible that it could actually happen if, of course, the fight gets made between Joshua and Klitschko. And at the current moment, according to Hearn, they're trying to get the numbers right with the Klitschko people. Hearn feels Joshua's worth a certain number, and if they can get that, if they can get to that number, the fight will be signed, sealed, and delivered. They may hold it off for a couple of weeks. It may not take place at November 26th. It could take place a couple of weeks thereafter to give it a proper promotion, given how big the fight is, how much money it can generate. So they want to give it as much promotional time as possible. But Hearn's request to the sanctioning bodies is interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if the sanctioning bodies will grant Hearn's request to have the WBA and WBO plus the IBO titles on the line for a Joshua Klitschko fight, which is pretty much for almost all the marbles in the heavyweight division. The only thing missing is the WBC heavyweight championship. But what if Eddie Hearn gets the deal done between Joshua and Klitschko? Say he gets the deal done. He makes it happen. Then he brings it over to the sanctioning bodies. Are the sanctioning bodies actually going to say no to Eddie Hearn, given the type of sanctioning fees the sanctioning bodies could get in a potential Joshua Klitschko fight? Remains to be seen, but it doesn't seem like too far-fetched that Eddie Hearn could possibly make this happen. The sanctioning bodies, they're all about business, all about making money. They want their titles to be active, and they haven't made any money in the heavyweight division. Well, the WBA and the WBO hasn't when it comes to sanctioning fees in the heavyweight division. So it'll be like making up for lost time. And if they sanction the fight between Joshua and Klitschko, which is what Hearn wants. He feels this fight is much bigger than being possibly just a voluntary defense for Anthony Joshua, and putting Vladimir Klitschko in an awkward situation as being just a challenger as a voluntary defense to Joshua's IBF strap. Eddie Hearn feels the fight's much bigger than that. He feels title belts should be on the line. It should be branded as a unification if these two were to actually fight. Besides, more title belts on the line means more money to the table, more commercial appeal. And it's going to be interesting to see if Eddie Hearn actually makes the deal, brings it to the sanctioning bodies, and for them to actually turn it down, considering the amount of sanctioning fees that can be collected from that fight. It just seems like it will be too hard for the sanctioning bodies to turn down. And if you look at the ratings at the moment, okay, Joseph Parker's rated number 1 with the WBO. He just beat Dimitrenko on a weird-ass fight. I don't know if didn't seem like a real fight to me. Felt like I was watching a scripted movie. I don't know, it was just a weird fight. But he won the fight. And now he's waiting. He's weighing his options. Him and his team are talking about taking a path of least resistance towards a world title shot, perhaps fighting for a vacant WBO strap against Andy Ruiz, even though he's rated number 1 and the mandatory challenger to Anthony Joshua's IBF strap. And in the WBA, you got Luis Ortiz, but he was ordered to fight Ustinov. The fight never happened. Ortiz pulled out for whatever reason, and there's no news of what the hell's going to go on for his next move of his career. Even though he's rated above Klitschko, he would get skipped over, as Klitschko is going to be ready to fight if he can get a deal done with who's ever within the WBA or perhaps even the WBO. But the talks between Klitschko and Joshua is serious. Perhaps it could happen this year, which is very surprising given the little experience Joshua brings to the table. But it's very possible it could be for all the marbles. For 4 title belts, I don't see how the sanctioning bodies will turn it down. if somehow Eddie Hearn could get the deal over the finish line between Joshua and Klitschko. Now, of course, the sanctioning bodies would be leaving Joseph Parker in the cold if they actually sanction the fight between Joshua and Klitschko for their belt. Because Parker's rated number 1, but if the WO sanctions the fight, he won't get his title shot. He'll be left out in the cold. He'll be asked out, and he'll have to wait for the winner between Klitschko and Joshua, if indeed that fight happens. And Ortiz as well, he'll have to wait for the winner for that fight. It's all about business. Whoever can bring the most money to the table, the most sanctioning fees for the sanctioning bodies to collect, and I think that's the play the sanctioning bodies will roll. That's how they're going to roll. They're going to go with the most lucrative option, the most reliable option, and right now it just seems that Joshua and Klitschko are on a collision course. The only reason why the fight doesn't happen is because Joshua's team or Eddie Hearn don't feel Joshua's ready. But if they can get the sanctioning bodies to sanction this fight as a unification, I don't see how they turn it down. And considering Klitschko's coming off a huge layoff, coming off a loss, maybe he is right for the picking. But maybe it is just too much too soon for Anthony Joshua. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Should the sanctioning bodies bend the rules and sanction a fight, a unification fight, the WA, the WO, for a guy who's not even rated within the organization, in Anthony Joshua? And it's because he holds the IBF strap. He's the IBF champion. But the sanctioned bodies could make an exception because he'll be branded as an elite challenger to the highest to the highest contender of that organization, which is going to be Klitschko. Even though Luis Ortiz is rated above him, and Joseph Parker is also rated above him. But that's the sanctioning bodies. They can break rules. They could make a fighter's name magically appear on the ratings as long as there's money to be made or sanctioning fees to be collected. And it's going to be interesting to see if Eddie Hearn can get it done. But if anybody could do it, it's him. All he has to do is make the deal with Klitschko's team, bring it over to the sanctioning bodies, and I just don't see how the sanctioning bodies turn that down. It's too much of a sanctioning fee not to collect. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.